So a really good way of understanding lean, as well as Lean Six Sigma, is that we want to take a systematic approach to identifying and eliminating waste. And we define that as non-value added activities, things that don't add value for our customer. And we do that through a continuous improvement process. Some of the key elements of lean include flow, creating flow of information and flow of product, and creating that at the pull of the next downstream customer and ultimately our end customer in the process as we pursue perfection in the process. So that's at a really high level what lean is about. Now, lean is based on the Toyota production system. And one of the things we encourage clients to do, and we can help them do that, is to create their own sort of house diagram. Now, this is the Toyota production system house diagram. There are different versions of this, but they generally include at the very top and the roof of the house things like quality, cost, lead time or delivery, safety, and morale. Okay, or employee involvement, engagement might be another word that we use there. Those are the goals. Those are the things that we're trying to support through this system. Then there are two major pillars. The first one is just in time. And that a lot of times people think that refers only to external suppliers and holding the little inventory as possible. But just in time is actually much bigger than that. It's really about providing what's needed, when it's needed, in the right quantity at each point in the process. And there are different principles and tools that we use to support that. And those include things like continuous flow, takt time running to the heartbeat of the customer, creating pull as opposed to a push system, and being able to be flexible in setup and changeover between products and or services. The other pillar is quality at the source. And quality at the source is the idea that we never knowingly want to pass defective product or information to the next downstream customer. So that's what quality at the source is. And there are different tools and principles that support quality at the source. I'll mention one of them, and that is mistake proofing or error proofing, which is a very important concept in Lean and Lean Six Sigma. Okay, problem solving in general applies to all of this, and especially quality at the source, root cause analysis, things like the 5 whys, and other tools that we can use to create quality at the source rather than downstream sort of inspecting for quality only and finding lots of defects and maybe letting some slip through. Instead, we want to have quality at the source. At the base of the Toyota production system or lean house is stability, operational stability, and that has to do with consistency in how we carry out the work. We talk about things like standard or standardized work, reliability in our equipment, preventive maintenance, total productive maintenance, organized workspace, and that's 5S, which is a system for workplace organization, and then leveling the workload or leveling production. Okay, those are that relates to consistency in production. And so those are some of the basics. Now, the one probably most important piece to making all of this work is the lean culture, and that's continuous improvement as well as respect for people. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay. So now let's actually talk about that. So a lean culture is often talked about as continuous improvement plus respect for people. So what do we mean by that? Okay. If we start with continuous improvement, what that means is we want to have what we call a problem-solving process, a process for constantly going from our current condition to some target condition. We want to improve, right? And we want to be doing that on a regular basis. And one thing that we need in order to do that is a common language for problem solving. So whether it's DMAIC, as is often used in a Lean Six Sigma model, or the 8-step Toyota business practices, Toyota way approach to problem solving, which isn't really that dissimilar, whether it's that or even some other similar approach, we need to have one. And we use that to create sort of an army of problem solvers, okay? And then alongside that, we also need to be practicing that. And the idea is if we practice problem solving regularly, we're exercising that problem solving muscle, and we are creating the habit of problem solving. And that actually changes the culture. Now, along with continuous improvement, we have respect for people, which sounds really nice, but what does it really mean? It's not just about, it's really not about just being kind to people and things like that. That's great. We should definitely be doing that. But it's really about engaging everyone in the process of continuous improvement. We don't just hire people to do their function. Part of their function we expand to include improvement. And we want everyone working on improvement, especially with their skills that we're educating them on in terms of problem solving and tools and things like that, which allow them to see the waste and make improvements to their processes. So we want to engage people, and that's what really makes lean really effective. Okay, lean is not something that management does to the employees. It's something that all the team members are working on. We're all rowing together toward this destination of lean, which is being able to provide our customer with what they need when they need it in the right quantity. So that's what lean culture is about. Now, I'll very quickly talk about these 5 principles of lean. This comes from the book Lean Thinking, and I still think these are of value. Again, lean thinking came out back in the 1990s, but these 5 principles still make a lot of sense for an organization that's trying to implement lean or transform into lean. One thing they need to understand, one principle is value. And that means understand from the customer standpoint what it is that they do, what reason they have for buying products and services from you, right? So, what is your value add as an organization, right? What value do we provide, whether it's in the form of products, services, some combination very often. And then we map the value stream. First, we have to identify the value streams that we have, and these are our major product or service lines. We call these core value streams. And that helps us to understand where the opportunity is. So if we can see the flow from, say, customer order all the way through to delivery of a product or service, we can expose the waste and the sources of waste and start to see where can we make improvements here. The third thing is making value flow. Now, when we talk about making value flow, we're saying we want to move the product or service, whatever it is, or information that's part of our delivery of a product or service, with as little delay as possible at the pace of the customer. So we want to create flow. And we also have principle number 4, which is pull, which means we only want to make what the customer actually needs at each point. We don't want to push too much work into the next step or to the customer or into our inventory if we really don't need it. So what we want to do is provide only what's needed when it's needed. Okay. And then number 5 is continuous improvement or seeking perfection. That's a key principle of lean. Okay, so these are 5 basic principles. Now, when we take these principles and we think about what does that look like if we were to picture our value stream, which is key to the whole 5 principles, a value stream is kind of a timeline as well. So I mentioned from when we say the customer places an order to when we deliver that product or service to the customer, there's a timeline. And in that timeline, there's value added activities, things that the customer is willing to pay for, and there's waste. And with lean, what we're trying to do is compress that timeline by eliminating those things that don't add value. And on this slide, I have a quote from Taiichi Ono, who is one of the key figures, sort of the founder, often viewed as the sort of godfather of the Toyota production system. But what he said was, all we're doing is looking at the timeline from the moment the customer gives us an order to the point when we collect the cash. And we're reducing that timeline by removing non-value added wastes. And that's from Taiichi Ono. Now, the benefits of lean, okay, what we get out of lean by actually doing this is faster delivery times to our customer. And that's internal and external customers. So we're going to be able to deliver information and product to the customer faster. And we don't do that by working harder. We do that by eliminating those things that get in the way, just as I showed you on the last slide. Secondly, if you're in the product business as you are, there's a net decrease in inventory. Now, a lot of times people view decreasing inventory as sort of a lean strategy or tool, but it's not. It should be a benefit. As we get better at what we do, fewer defects, more productive in our operation, more flexible. we don't need as much inventory. So that's the way to look at it. Reducing inventory is typically a benefit of lean because inventory hides a lot of these wastes. Third thing is productivity. That gives us more capacity. So as we improve productivity, we're going to free up capacity. We're going to be able to do more with the same resources we have now. And then quality improvement, that's going to lower our costs. It's also going to free up a little capacity as well. And it's going to attract additional business. Okay. So those are the key benefits of lean and Lean Six Sigma. Our improvement model for lean starts at the very top. I want to talk about this just briefly. We won't get into the details of all these, but at the top, we have strategy or strategy deployment. And that's where we should be identifying what are our key goals, initiatives, what are the key metrics that we want to improve as a business at a high level. And then how do we sort of align those goals throughout the organization so that everyone is rowing toward those same goals? So we need to understand, what are the goals? What is it that we want to achieve? Is our main focus going to be being able to develop products faster? Is that our top focus this year? Is it delivering products faster? Is it some combination of both? Is it, we have very high scrap rates. Okay. So then we really need to focus on quality. Where are the biggest opportunities? Value stream mapping is sort of a support for that. Value stream mapping allows us to get into a little bit more detail and to see where some specific opportunities are in order to achieve and reach those metrics. Okay, so value stream mapping is going to allow us to see opportunities for Kaizen, which is just a Japanese word that means good change or change for the better. And that's actually making the improvements. And that's what the last two items are on the bottom here. And that's Kaizen events, which is one way to approach it. Projects, DMAIC projects. Okay, if you're using DMAIC in a Lean Six Sigma model, you would be using DMAIC typically. And then we have what we call daily Kaizen. So as part of our daily management system, we should have improvement goals that we're actually trying to reach. So we're constantly looking to make improvements on one or two key metrics in each area. Okay, so whether it's productivity related, quality related, or maybe both, we're looking to make those improvements, and we're constantly generating ideas for these improvements and working on improvements within the teams. So that's our model. Now, our approach and what we do to help clients is we provide training, we provide coaching, and we provide facilitation support. And our goal is to help the client become self-sufficient. So we want to build capability at our clients. Now, to start out with an organization, a lot of times we start with an assessment so we can work with the organization to identify where the biggest opportunities are, where the weaknesses are, where the strengths are in the organization. And then we can help with things like strategy deployment, which I mentioned, helping with change management. That kind of goes throughout the whole system. We can provide coaching and help develop coaching and facilitation skills. We can help initially with value stream mapping, developing a system for daily Kaizen and daily management, implementing problem solving, whether it's using DMAIC or the 8-step Toyota problem-solving process, and then teaching the lean tools and the Six Sigma tools and helping coach people through that process so that ultimately what it should look like is once people have gone through some training and some coaching and we've spread lean and Lean Six Sigma throughout the organization, you're really self-sufficient. You might call us to do some additional training on occasion, as many of our clients do, but our goal is to have you become completely capable within the organization. We're not trying to become kind of a permanent fixture in the organization.